KBLA Talk 1580.
Ready for action, nip it in the bud, we never relaxing. Outcast is everlasting, not clashing, not at all. But see, my went to do a little acting. Now that's for anyone asking. Give me one and pass them. Drip, drip, drop, there goes an orgasm. Now you coming out the side of your face, we tapping right into your memory bank. Thanks. So click at the ticket, let's see your seatbelt fasten. Trunk rattling like two midgets in the back seat wrestling. Speaker box vibrate the tag, make it sound like aluminum cans in a bag. But I know y'all wanted that 808. Can you feel that BASS bass? But I know y'all wanted that 808. Can you feel that BASS bass? I like the way you move. I like the way you move. Woo. I love the way you move. I love the way. I love the way. I love the way you move. I love the way you move. Woo. I love the way you move. I love the way. I love the way. The whole room fell silent. The girls all paused with glee. Turning left, turning right. Thought they looking at me, but I was looking
Welcome
at them.
back
They're
in to
on the dance floor. Now we
RSVP
got
with Jill
feeling like
Munroe
I'm
here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, that is a bop right there. Happy birthday, big boy. Shout out to him. It is his birthday. Of course, when I think of that video, though, I think of, what is the guy's name? Mr. Bentley? Or what? Farnsworth Bentley with an umbrella out there. The umbrella, he smacks it out to the side. It opens. Whack. And he's getting his 1-2 on. Realistically, though, we need that in this moment. Did you guys, if you were in LA, feel that hailstorm that just happened about an hour ago? Let me tell you, it sounded like the end of the world. It sounded like Dorothy in The Wiz or The Wizard of Oz about to be swept up by that tornado. I walked outside and there was like pockets of ice covering the grass and all of the bushes. Andy's looking at me like I'm crazy. You guys didn't hear it in here?
You know, I saw the notification on my Citizen app, but I mean, I'm inside.
You're
so
inside.
Really tell.
Listen, it felt like it was about to take the house down. I was disturbed. I took some video. I'll show you, Andy. But it was ridiculous out there. At any rate, you know, Farnsworth Bentley and his umbrella, I had a moment thinking of him and his grooves.
I wonder where he's at now.
You know, I feel like when some of the first rumblings came about with these cases against Diddy, someone was asking, I think he's still around on social media. I know he married a woman, I think her name was Fawn. She was beautiful. I think she was either a singer or an actress, something in the industry. But, you know, listen, umbrella holder, he seemed to collect that dough. What a time in hip hop. Shout out to Adam Milan in the YouTube chat. He has his little disco emojis up, jamming to that song. You know, again, every era has their own sound, their own flavor. Music means something different to especially the youth, because, you know, they say that between the ages of like 13 and 15, 14 and 16, somewhere in there, your musical taste is locked in. And the music that you are connected with at that age, realistically, the sound and that music is really what you are going to be connected to for the remainder of your life. And it kind of shapes you as far as your musical taste and how you are. So having said that, you know, when you're 13 or 14, the things that you love, the things that you appreciate may not be the most, educational, inspirational, you know, or even logical. They're just things that you enjoy because you're being a young adult and just having a good time, right? I know there's recently been some controversy because Candace Owens came out and said that she feels like we're going to hell in a handbasket if Ice Spice can release her new single, which is called Fart. They think I'm the ish. I mean, it is a bit much, but come on, let's be realistic. That's why you think we're going to hell in a handbasket? Because Ice Spice has a inappropriately named song that really, in some ways, you know, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, I'm assuming that's primarily who Ice Spice's audience is. I know she's older and there are older ones, but, realistically, her rhymes are kind of sing-songy. It's kind of fun. It's not a lot of subjects on the docket that are really appropriate for them to talk about anyway. You want them to talk about a teenage love? You guys get upset at that. So, I mean, listen, let them have their fun. Those things will fade out and, or flip back around and become a cult classic. Can you imagine in 2035 some Gen Zer who's probably, at that point, I guess they'll be, early mid 30s, like, throw on that Ice Spice, boo. I mean, but yeah, because I'm sure they felt the same way. Like, you guys listening to that hip hop? Who are you going to listen to that? Go to a concert with that? You can't romance your girl and be in love with that music. And look at people forming bonds, getting married to Wu-Tang lyrics and all types of stuff like that. I mean, so, again, what is appropriate for an older generation as far as enjoyment is not always going to match up with the things that matter to the youth. I understand wanting to make sure that we have something that is of substance in there, but let them have their fun. Let them do their thing. And you don't have to be a consumer of it. Well, maybe you do if you have kids, because kids are expensive and they're going to charge you up, make you pay for something. But streaming's free. I just think about that. You don't really have to give your kids money to go buy music anymore, anything like that. They can stream all day, listen to the song 50 million times. You don't have to buy them CDs to burn it on, cassettes to record it on. Just their phone that you probably already have for them anyway. Listen, when we come forward, we are going to get into a situation that happened with former Hootie and the Blowfish singer Darius Rucker. We're going to talk Victoria Monet and a couple of other trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. Linking social justice and climate justice all year long.
We're unapologetically progressive.
KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA Can also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007 they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA Can believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, it's Black History Month, but it's not starting off so great for Darius Rucker. He is the former lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish, and he was arrested on a minor drug offense in Tennessee late last night, early this morning, right? He was booked on 3 separate misdemeanor charges, and he was released, I guess, around 10 a.m. this morning. He was bonded out. They haven't said what led up to the arrest, but it was 2 counts of simple possession, casual exchange of a controlled substance, which, pretty much sounds like weed to me. And all I say to that is, I believe that's where he lives, though. So you got to know, if you are in a place where it is not legal, you got to move smarter. Even if it is a misdemeanor, who wants the headlines? Who wants the drama? It's not a big deal, but, I don't know. I just think you got to roll a little smarter if you got the tweeds in your vehicle. Anything could happen. So, shout out to him. He's out. I'm sure it'll be some type of fine and, maybe a class, and keep that thing moving. Okay. We are, a week since Megan Thee Stallion dropped Hiss. We spent about 72 hours watching Nicki Minaj spiral and dropping her Bigfoot diss. And here we are, a week later, with lots of sub disses, lots of conversation, lots of think pieces on the topic, right? Well, Nicki joined a space on X, that's Twitter. It's kind of like Twitter's version of Clubhouse. You guys remember Clubhouse? It was big time during the pandemic. At any rate, she got on with Joe Budden, and of course, there was more conversation about the situation. But recently, fans are upset with Joe Budden because he alleged that the drama surrounding the alleged threats to Megan's mother's gravesite were all done with PR from Megan's side. Nicki also implied this and said that she felt like Megan was really trying to have a Rihanna moment with the Tory Lanez situation. So, kind of 2 sides of the same coin. Don't know if that's true, but, fans are upset at Joe, saying, how could she be using, why would she do that, blah, 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 blah. What I can say is that though security was increased at the graveyard where her mother is resting, there were no threats made to the graveyard. No one attempted to desecrate the grave. Nothing like that happened. They said that they were taking the action as an abundance of caution. Do you know? In case one of the fans got riled up. Because we know this online stuff, some of these fans really take this to heart. This is what they feel their mission is, their life. They see themselves in this artist and they want to carry it out. I mean, I saw a couple of people get caught up in some legal situations attempting to dox individuals who did not support their stance on the Megan and Nicki thing. I believe they were Barb's. And unfortunately, they picked the right one or the wrong one, depending upon your perspective, because a couple of these individuals did move forward and get into some litigation situations. One of them was a lawyer. So she's like, oh, I got this. So I just think fans need to calm down. But I do think that it is important to note that the actual location said they didn't receive any threats and no one attempted to do anything to the site. I want to be clear on that because I think there's been some misinformation out there. And again, this beef is doing a lot, but we don't want it to get any further than it already has for some, you know? At any rate, you know, people are also looking at Nicki funny because she put out about 6 different versions of the single Bigfoot, and it's currently doing really, really well on iTunes. But they feel as though she's gaming the system to get those numbers and that they aren't real and they aren't pure. And then, you know, some think the track is garbage. Blase, blah, blah, blah. Right? So there's that. And now the latest, I guess, move in the situation is fans are calling out Megan Thee Stallion because she has chosen to go on Radiohead, which is where Nicki Minaj moved her Queen radio show after her deal with Apple came up. And she now is seemingly talking to the hotties and putting together her own show over there. And of course, the Barbs are like, what are you doing? Nicki started that. You're her son. Blah, blah, blah. Like, again, I get it. People feel naturally inclined to choose a side. I have told you my personal feeling is I don't mind a little competitiveness within hip hop. I don't mind a little bit of, you know, the Barbs. And when I say Barbs, I'm not talking about Barbs with a Z. I'm talking about the verbal jarring and sparring that is going back and forth. I don't mind a little bit of that, but I do, you know, people are sensitive and they're going in areas I guess you can't pick once you start throwing bombs where the person is going to lob one back. But I do wish they would keep it a little bit, you know, little more in nicer zones, I guess, should you say, you know, leave the babies and the dead parents out of the situation. Maybe perhaps the rest of that stuff, you know, free smoke, but the babies and the dead mommies, feels a bit much.
I'm not condoning, you know, the babies and the kids and all that, but unfortunately, it's hip hop.
It is.
And when it comes to hip hop, you know,
that's how it goes down, right?
I mean, it's open sesame. You know what I mean? I mean, don't listen to battle rap. I tell you that much. You listen to battle. You think what Nicki and Megan are saying to each other is horrible? Don't listen to battle rap at all.
I mean, I can imagine. I'm sure they go for the jugular. Listen, I apparently I like my battle rap PG-13 or something like that.
But everybody loves Hit 'Em Up.
I do. Listen.
Everybody loved No Vaseline.
Listen, I did.
Everybody loved Dollars and Cents.
Man.
Everybody liked, I'm going to even say, Back Down from 50 when he dissed Ja Rule.
I liked Ether, too.
You liked Ether? You like Takeover?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know.
But nobody likes when the ladies are going at each other, though, huh?
I think, you know why? Because, one, it's considered unladylike, I think. We still have some of those, you know, standards that are attached to the things. And I think sometimes it's a battle back and forth of, you know, you're being too masculine. You guys are doing da-da-da-da-da. And, oh, it's just girl gossipy stuff. I wonder if the reason why people are so sensitive is because of what we saw happen with Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown and all of that, you know, with Kim going to jail and whomever got shot because of that, you know, one, there were several real world consequences to the beef, and two, it also at a time when we didn't have that many female rappers, saw two of our best that used to be friends splinter and fracture a relationship that has never recovered from that. The guys, they can go through their beef and seemingly come together a few years later. We saw Gucci and Jeezy kind of come together. We've seen Nas and Jay come together. So
Well, that's because they learned from Pac and Big.
facts.
I think, obviously when rap beef got to the point where people actually got killed, they were like, you know what, I'm going to do whatever I can to keep it on wax.
So we'll have to see what happens. But I don't think that it's as bad of a thing as people, to a degree. I
It's
understand the parts that, but I do think it's interesting how the lines are forming, how like Ice Spice and JT are taking Nicki's side. I wonder if they're just, because we know that Nicki's the type of friend like, you're my friend so you don't like her. Very high school. But I wonder if there is some underlying beef that they have with Megan Thee Stallion. I'm curious about that. I know in the back of her mind, Lotto is probably slightly seething because she had been trying to get with Nicki on the low and get her attention and get something started, I feel, for quite a bit of time. But, Lotto's on her pop girl lead stuff, so.
Where was the uproar when Nicki and Remy was going at it?
That is true. But I think, and this goes to what I said about the POV, I think Remy, because, again, deep voice rapper, right? I say, no. This is what I'm saying. Don't go there, right? A deep voice rapper. Remy's hardcore. She went to jail for shooting her friend in the stomach. People like, ain't nobody playing with Remy. Remy will really bring that heat to you in the streets. So I think they just thought like, oh, this is just fun because ain't nobody really competing with Remy. She might bring it in real life.
See, so the aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
So because Remy is a little bit,
I think at that time she was. I think Remy has changed up her look somewhat now, a little bit. Like it's a little softer than maybe it was a few years ago. But yes, where you're going, yeah, I think that might have something to do with it. Like
That's unfortunate.
sometimes, here's the thing. I am one to say sometimes I feel like we call things out. We see things that aren't there. We look for ghosts in a lot of situations. But then I think that there's some situations where you're like, I think that might be that. We're not going to make a big deal out of it, but I see what you guys are kind of doing. And I think that I feel like people did not feel like Remy needed defending. And Megan.
she definitely didn't.
Right. But I feel like they still feel like, too.
So Megan still needs some help. Why? Because she's pretty? Is that what we're saying?
I think it's a couple of things with that. I think because people were like, oh, if you think about it, right? Megan's image was blended with, I'm a schoolgirl, I'm in college, I'm getting my education, I've lost she is a victim. Not like that, but I think people, it's not even just that they think she's pretty or that, that's part of it. But I think that they look at her.
It's a lot of it.
It's a lot of it. I think, well, I will say this. I think that Megan's beauty, right? She's a brown-skinned woman. She's, thick.
Oh, here we go.
No, it's not a bad thing. I think she looks identifiable, right? Like, her fans can relate to her. They see a lot of themselves in Megan. And I think that is why a lot of them support her in the way she did. I think that has a lot to do with why she was winning, especially at the time. Think about it. All of this came out shortly after the Breonna Taylor incident and things of that nature. First, we were Hot Girl Summering it, and then Hot Girl Summer got dampened because we couldn't go outside. And I think that just in a lot of ways, a lot of Megan's fans see themselves in her, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And so they are rushing to defend her in any format because it's almost like defending themselves.
I hear that, and I understand that all the way. I guess it's just unfortunate because you would think, two women going at each other is a problem. But I guess because Remy kind of presented herself a little bit, you know, on the masculine scale, I guess you could say. Like you said, she didn't need any help. But I still think it's unfortunate because it was two women going at each other. I mean, hell, when, like you said, Foxy and Lil' Kim went at each other, right? It was a problem. But it wasn't a problem when it was Nicki and Remy. I just find that interesting. That's all.
I do too, and that is my theory. I could be wrong, but that is just my theory. I think they believe that Remy could take care of herself. You know, she popped her friend over some bread. So, you know, I do think that perception has a lot to do with it. And again, Megan's incident with Tory, maybe had it come at a different time in hip hop, like not, again, following what had gone on with Breonna Taylor and where we were as a culture and consciously, maybe it wouldn't have had the same reaction. Do you know what I mean? I think that plays a role too, because at that time it was really believe women, stand up for women, especially black women. We often end up the victim of violence, you know, just by being around. So again, not saying any of the support is insincere, but I do think that there were some unfortunate benefits from an ugly situation.
You know, on a positive outlook on this, I'm going to just go ahead and say that I think this beef is keeping hip-hop alive in a lot of ways. I mean, these are, you know, hip-hop heavyweights to a certain degree.
Two of the biggest artists, Grammy winner.
Anytime, you know, when you have the best and the best, you know, obviously, you know, we like to compare, contrast, and all that. And I don't think there's going to be any real detrimental negative stuff that comes out of this situation. I think everything will be kept on wax, and it's just good competition.
I agree with that. So we'll see what develops, because we're going to get into a little more of this topic in hour 3. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into Victoria Monet and her comments about her Grammy nomination and her sexuality. We're also going to talk Wendy Williams. She has a new documentary dropping on Lifetime. We're going to get into the trailer and discuss a little bit about what we think is happening with Wendy. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is admitting he mishandled communication around his treatment for prostate cancer. Austin, in his first news conference since returning to the Pentagon, told reporters he kept his hospitalization from President Biden because he has a lot of things on his plate. He added the news of the diagnosis shook him, and his first instinct was to keep it private. Austin, who is black, has faced sharp criticism as his unannounced hospitalization last month was not disclosed to Biden or other senior administration officials for days. Parents at some Houston, Texas public schools are wondering why their kids were given an assignment to determine whether slavery should be legal. It was part of the lesson plan for 7th graders who were learning about the Texas Declaration of Independence. A district spokesman confirms that the unit was approved by the curriculum department. It has since been thrown out and replaced. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Drought, war, and rising food prices have doubled the number of families facing malnutrition. You can help. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646.
You like your style, though? At KBLA Talk 1580.
We are unapologetic about amplifying the voices of those who have historically been left out of the conversation. As we approach our 3rd anniversary this summer, the problem with talk radio in Southern California specifically, and America more broadly, is virtually unchanged. All day, all night, all white. We make no apologies for our prime audience, but true to the best of our tradition, we're committed to expanding justice and freedom for all. So when we receive messages from listeners like Neil, we just smile.
I realize that I'm not your target demographic, but I love listening to your station as it is the only progressive station on the dial.
That's us. Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA member FDIC.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vid. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
like she get it from her mama. I'ma say you got it right. Body rude is unpolite. Don't be in a humble type. Tell me, is you down? Cause I'm trying to go up tonight. Hoes and hoochies left and right. I just wanna live in a fantasy. I think we deserve it right. Top of the memories I've ever made in my life. Permanent ecstasy. The ladies is pimps tonight. Living inside a dream. Let's slay where the love is like. I put that on my mama, on my hood. I look fly, I look good. You can't touch my bag, wish you could. I look fly, I look too good. Put that on my mama, on my hood. I look fly, I look good. You can't touch my bag, wish you could. I look fly, I look too good.
Welcome back into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Top 1580. And it's Victoria Monet, y'all. If you weren't aware, shout out to her team, Taurus, because you know I got a rep for the Tauruses. And really, Victoria Monet has been on the scene for a minute now. You've seen her. Well, I guess you've heard her pen game. That's the way you say it, right? Right. She's had some EPs that have been out there that have been buzzing, but her most recent project is the one that really took off. She has, I think, 6 or 7 Grammy nominations. She's going to be performing on the show after just, I believe it was last summer, the MTV Music Awards said that though they loved her, they didn't think that it was her moment to be on the big stage. Well, I guess they were right, because now she's on an even bigger stage coming up this weekend with her nomination. Well, in a recent interview, shout out to Shannon Thompson joining the chat. She said, "Happy Friday, Junior. We appreciate you locking in, of course." So one thing that has been very vocal about Victoria throughout her career is that she is a bisexual woman. She has had relationships with women, and she's had relationships with men. Her and Kalani dated for a minute, allegedly. Not allegedly, but allegedly. And, you know, some other things. She currently has a boyfriend, life partner, and they have a beautiful daughter together. But on a recent interview with Gayle King discussing her upcoming nomination, she also spoke about her sexuality and what it means to her to be representing for the bisexual community.
And much has been made about, in 2018, you said, you know, and oh, by the way, I like girls. Because you describe yourself as bisexual, true?
Yes.
And you're very fine with that and very open about that.
Completely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think people understand that?
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
No. So I get the question a lot. It's like, so since you're in a relationship with a man, do you still like girls? I'm like, yes. It's just like, if you're in a relationship with your girlfriend, do you still like girls?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take away the attraction to other people. It's a choice that you're in to, you know, to be faithful in that relationship.
So one, I think when people ask that question, what they're really asking is, are you allowed to date a girl while you're dating your boyfriend? Do you guys have, there's more questions, I think, around that. I really don't think that there's that much confusion about what a bisexual lifestyle is or what it entails. I know that we are dealing with lots of different versions of representation, and that the LGBTQ community has taken great strides to make sure that their point of view, their experiences, their representation is out there. But I don't know if for her, again, especially as someone who put that information out there in 2018, it hasn't really been a secret. And I don't see it as really leading her in one way or another. I think her fans, granted, I know she's being exposed to an all-new network of fans, but I just don't think that it is as controversial as it is sort of being set up to be. I guess maybe they just need an angle or something to discuss, because I also think part of the idea of raising awareness or, having shows or songs that show these other slices of life is that to some people's dismay, perhaps, you normalize it. And when you normalize something, you aren't always talking about it or putting it on Front Street or having a conversation around it, I just think that sometimes it's just, she's an amazing songwriter. She's an amazing artist. And again, not taking away from the idea that we need to see representation of all stories and all sides. But I really think that there is a bigger story about her perseverance, about her pen game, about how that worked out, just other things. And again, not excluding that, but not letting that be the lead story in it. So that's just my opinion on that one. Once again, shout out to Victoria Monet. If you have never seen her perform live, do that if you can. She puts on an amazing show. There's choreography. There's theater, darling. Lots of energy. And the vocals are there too. Mic is on. So shout out to Victoria Monet. All right. So listen. Wendy Williams. We miss her, right? People have been like, if Wendy Williams was out and around on her show, it would have been buzzing the last few months with all of the different stories that have come out, especially considering that, Wendy was popping back in the 90s. She was on radio, a queen of radio, as we know. And, her show, Love It or Hate It, both the radio and the television version, set the stage for a lot of things. You think about the fact that there are so many podcasts right now. And to a large degree, what a lot of the pods do is spend some time breaking down rumors, talking about situations, bringing up old tea. And Wendy received a lot of heat. Wendy Williams got the heat for, making those choices. However, now it seems to be sort of par for the course when we think about her, right? Well, a teaser just dropped for a new documentary that is coming to Lifetime. Some are speculating that this is probably some of the footage that she was spotted filming, I guess about a year ago, February of 2023, following her stint in rehab. And they think it's related to that. So we're going to take a listen to a little bit of, okay, maybe not on the other side. So we'll just talk about it. So essentially in this clip, it's a trailer for a 2-night documentary event, right? It's going to be on Lifetime later in February. And, Wendy is in decline as far as her health. We know she's suffering from Graves' disease. There's a couple of things that are going on with her. So we're not going to listen to the whole thing, but I just want you to hear in her own words some of the things that she is expressing that have been going on with her.
From 6 years old, all I wanted was to be famous.
Showtime. There's only one Wendy Williams.
The boss is walking, everybody.
Nobody can do it like Wendy. No one.
People love Wendy.
You are a star to all of us.
She was in her living room every single day for 12 years.
Yep, I guess that'll do.
And that's what people responded to, her authenticity. And then at the peak of her career, she was gone.
So I think the clip is probably longer than we have left in the segment. So I'm just
ready?
gonna
Waiting on you.
we're gonna show some.
All right, and away we go.
Love you, Wendy.
All I know is how to be famous. I really want to be back on television.
You're gonna be back on TV. That's easy.
My mom has done a great job making it seem like everything is okay always.
Wendy, make sure you look here. 1, 2, 3.
But in reality, there's something wrong going on.
Did you see a neurologist to find out if I'm crazy? Oh my God, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to sit down again.
She was put in front of a judge and given a guardian. That was when they took her away from us.
I have no money, and I'm gonna tell you something. If it happens to me, it could happen to you.
As her family, we were all sitting on the sidelines watching, and she was crying out for help.
Did you drink this whole thing today?
Keep it there.
Okay.
Keep it there.
My mom, she always talks about how she wants to work, but I feel as though she's worked enough.
She has people around who are yes people and allowing this to continue.
This is all too much. Go! Drive!
I have no idea where we are. This doesn't look like anything familiar.
I think she's losing memory. Have you guys noticed that?
How dare him? I control me. I weigh 138. Anybody could look at her and tell this is not just alcohol. There's something more going on. I miss my family.
I'll be here.
Please be here.
No matter how many times somebody may fall down, you gotta lift them back up.
We all make choices in life. We all go through our challenges. She's still a person.
How you doing?
That's my sister.
There have been random people around you.
Stealing money from me.
Getting money, whatever the case may be.
Enough.
Can you tell me where your sister is?
No, I don't know the exact location of where she is.
I feel like the Guardian has not done a good job of protecting my mom.
My life. My life.
Right now, she's weak and vulnerable, and she needs to be around people who aren't going to take advantage of that.
I have no friends. You know how many people come out to support you? You know how many people love you? No, I don't.
Everything is looking good.
I know.
I think that the guardianship system is broken. We are her family, and you tell me that I'm not capable of taking care of my sister. What would you do? What should I do?
I love being famous. But family was everything. So good to see you again, Dad.
It's good to see you, man.
Everything.
So listen, there's a lot there, and we'll unpack it on the other side. But again, I wanted you to hear some of that in Wendy's own words, because there's a lot there. We'll get into it on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Jackson Hewitt has a plan to get your tax refund fast with a buck here, buck there. Here a buck, there a buck, everywhere a buck.
You don't have to wait weeks for your tax refund. Get money sooner with a no-fee refund advance loan at Jackson Hewitt.
On this loan, there's a money today guarantee. E-I-E-I-Do.
Don't settle for chicken feed. Get fast bucks at Jackson Hewitt today. No-fee refund advance loans by Republic Bank offered to eligible clients. Money today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, home of the 2024 Climate Justice Campaign.
Listen up, City of Los Angeles renters that live in rent-controlled units. Landlords can now increase your rent by 4%. Know these 3 facts. The rent increase is allowed February 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2024. An extra 1% per utility up to 6% can be added if the landlord pays the entire gas and electric bill. And illegal rent increase complaints can be filed at housing.lacity.org. Check if you live in a rent-controlled unit and learn more at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You're locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we were talking Wendy Williams. We know that we heard last week from Miss Jones. She said that she went to visit Wendy and she believed Wendy was with family. She also implied she thought, and this is something that you see with a lot of fans saying, oh, they thought Wendy was just playing sick or crazy perhaps to try and keep her ex-husband from getting more money because of the deal that they signed. Their business was intertwined, and it ended up coming out that he had been cheating on her for a number of years and had an outside child and was supporting that child's mother with Wendy's money. And so fans were kind of hoping that it was some elaborate scheme to get out of that. But looking and listening to some of that footage, it sounds that, you know, there's some very serious things going on with Wendy. And a lot of people were like, well, how can she be broke? All of those shows, she's been in entertainment for 30 years. And not that we haven't heard stories about things of that, but also keep in mind that Wells Fargo froze her assets at one point in time. She is under some sort of conservatorship as far as what she is allowed to spend. So there's a lot that is happening there. So we just hope that, you know, everything comes together for Wendy. No matter how you feel about her personally, you have to know that she is an icon as far as radio and TV are concerned. She blazed a lot of trails, and a lot of the content, I should say, that you consume as far as podcasts and that nature, get some of their direct steez from one Wendy Williams. So shout out to Wendy. Listen, we talked about Taylor earlier, and I know that you guys are like, okay, we're over Taylor. But let me just say this. Fly, F-L-Y, that is the group that created Swag Surfing. They announced that their streams went up 700% after Taylor did the swag surf. They got a bunch of subscribers on their YouTube page. And so they have said that if Taylor wants to, they would love to see her hit a remix of Swag Surfing and put it out there in the universe. So I don't know. You know, we talked the other night about the comparison of Beyonce and Taylor Swift, and we know Beyonce does numbers and influences things or whatever, but Taylor seems to be tapping in on a different market, and again, you can't deny it. Shout out to Jeff TV in the chat. He says he has absolutely no sympathy for Wendy, or I can't see if that's a picture, but why, Jeff? Explain why. Because she had conversation for some of your faves, maybe? Because she discussed it in a manner that, you know, again, you didn't feel was right. I really don't think that she's done anything different from your Joan Rivers of the world in the past, people of that nature. But sometimes we are harder. Andy, what were you about to say? We are harder on our own than we are on others. Go ahead.
I mean, we're a sensitive people.
We are.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm assuming that's the reason why there's no sympathy, because, I mean, when you look at an early Charlemagne, when you look at an Academics right now, I'm going to go ahead and say Adam 22 from No Jumper. You know, in a lot of ways you could say that Wendy kind of paved the way for that, you know, the gossip and just the trashiness with her commentary. But I know, we had the Howard Sterns and all that, you know, so.
I mean, again, I understand it. There were some takes and subjects maybe she dived into that I probably would have bypassed, but you know, it's a choice. And once again, what is the difference between some of the conversations that are currently being had on podcasts now? I don't think that there's much. I just think that Wendy was a bold and audacious Black woman and had the nerve to say, again, was some of the stuff messy, especially some of that 90s stuff? 100%. But have you taken a look at any of the social media comments about any of these topics that we go past? Some of you really pot meet kettle, because you are giving way more fever to these people than Wendy Williams has in her thing.
Nah, Wendy Williams was kind of messed up at her time. I
No, I
remember
mean, I
a
know
lot of celebrities that didn't even want to go on her show.
The stuff with Method Man and his wife announcing that his wife had
Jay-Z.
cancer. The how you doing? That stuff was problematic, you know. And Jeff TV mentioned that she outed Method Man's wife for cancer sickness when even her family didn't know, and she never apologized. But she also felt that they were coming at her on some other stuff. I mean, Wendy has been hemmed up. People have stepped to Wendy, but she's always stood her ground. And again, love, hate, or what have you, what she did, what she kind of established was unheard of. And to me, when you listen to all of you look at a Drink Champs, you listen to a Cam and Mace talk about on It Is What It Is, the topics aren't dissimilar, and the things that they say aren't, you know. Jeff TV says it would seem that you are giving her credit for birthing what we are not proud of. Listen, your thoughts on that are interesting, but what I'm saying is, who says we aren't proud of it? Sometimes we don't like delivery. Sometimes we don't like the way, but conversation, heck, I can take it one step further. The dozens giving an opinion and feeling entitled to it. I think that is the very thing, one of the things that we as Black people hold our head up about, that we are going to tell it like it is. We're going to speak up, and we're going to let you know what we think. So again, I understand maybe you feel like some of the topics were salacious and some of her approach. I'm not justifying everything she did, but to act like what she did do wasn't revolutionary is not fair. A little bit.
Still giving her credit though for ratchetness though.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
so here's the thing. We got to stop acting like we don't like a little bit of ratchetness. Just a little. We enjoy it a little. We watch it. We talk about it. But look at the ratings. Look at the things that are netting up there. We may grow out of it. It may just be one slice of our whole pie. But to act as if we don't get some enjoyment from it, not fair.
Yeah, get some enjoyment, but at the end of the day, still low-hanging fruit. And it's, you know, it's one thing to celebrate her because of that. I think that's probably where Jeff is coming from.
I see, because he's on it. Sis, there is no, but also Wendy made her bones foul, period. Nothing about her is redeemable. Well, we'll see. We'll get into more of that on the other side. We're also going to get into why no Rock Nation brunch this year, and either download the app or make sure you have the website up, because we have interviews coming up with DMC of Run DMC about the new Peacock docuseries Kings from Queens, as well as Tachina Arnold and Cedric the Entertainer. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
I look fly, I look good. You can't touch my bag, wish you could. I look fly, I look too good.